Welcome back, everybody. This is Andrea with From Mrs. to Ms., and you guys are in for a treat today. I have a very special guest with me. She's one of my very best friends, and she is super knowledgeable and has such great insight on stuff that I begged her to be on here with me because she needs to tell you what she always tells me. She's my therapy coach, and she knows a lot about a lot. This is Lucinda. So we're going to welcome Lucinda. Hi.
Wow. Hello, everybody. Thank you, Andrea. That's quite an introduction. I
I
feel
know.
very flattered.
Yay, because I want you to come back another time. So I'm really trying to
Okay.
pump you up this time a little bit. So I wanted Lucinda to come on here because we were talking today. I'm visiting her in Dallas, Texas for Christmas, and I wanted to talk to her about, just holiday stuff. And we thought, why not do a show talking about what people do on the holidays when you maybe don't have somebody, or maybe you do, or maybe you have somebody new in your life and you're not really sure where that's going. And what are you going to do with that? Where do you go from there? I don't know. So we're like, you know what? Let's do an episode on this because I think it could be really helpful for people that are kind of in this situation right now. Don't you think?
I think it's great. Great idea. Thank you so much for asking me on holiday traditions and what you do when you're
Absolutely.
starting over with those. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. And I think it's always different, of course, for every couple, where they are in their relationship or what they're doing. Uh, you know, I really don't think about it that much when it comes around to Christmas because if I'm not really in with somebody significant, I don't really necessarily know that it's the time to go and get them a gift. I don't know. What's your thoughts on that? Like, when's a good time that you think you should worry about something like that?
Well, that's so funny that you should ask that because I think I'm the first guest you've ever had on that is not divorced, right?
That is such a great point, you guys, because we are truly today going
From Mrs.
to Ms. You see what we did there?
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, this is great because I didn't think about that. You have been married for how long?
28 and a half years,
Oh my God. That is amazing. This is going to open up a whole nother level of conversation
right?
today. It's such a long time to be with the same person. And I'm around you guys. I know you and your husband all the time. So it's like, it's normal for me to see just how you are and you're very easygoing. But gosh, that's a long time.
It is. I'm not going to deny it. It is a long time and it is not easy for anybody out there that thinks, whatever. It is easy. I can't tell you that I haven't thought about giving up every once in a while, but
Yep.
it is hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that is the hardest part is just sticking to it and knowing that there is something greater out there for you together, not saying separately. I mean, together, that if you work on it and you build it and you trust and you fertilize your lawn, you can actually get to an amazing place 28 years later, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Exactly. Okay, so going back to my question, what I'm kind of asking you is at what point do you think in a relationship that you should start thinking about celebrating the holidays together if it is a newer relationship with somebody? In your opinion, when do you think?
Well, that's a great question because the holidays are, they can be they can be very personal,
Hmm.
or they can be just, that time where you just get together and show love for other people. So when you're showing love, it really doesn't really matter that you put restrictions on how long I've known you or how long I've been around, because we try to get together at least one day during the holidays and just invite everybody who doesn't have anything to do. Some
Yeah.
people, I know I grew up far away, or after getting married, we were far away from my family. So my family was out of state. So anytime we would get together it would be 5 days.
Hmm.
But most people would be down the street or, across town from their family. So they'd only come for like 2 or 3 hours on Christmas Day, or 2 or 3 hours on whatever holiday
Kind
we
of a stop by
celebrate.
kind of thing.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
it's not a whole week, it's not a whole day, it's not, all the holidays together. So I'm all about more the merrier. It doesn't matter if you are, committed, in love, uh, dating lots of people. You can be with whoever, because it's just bringing people together in love and happiness. The
Yeah.
only thing that I would be concerned with is when you're dating more than one person, they're going to say, "What did you do?" And you're like, "Oh, I was with Steve on Thursday, and I was with Sam on Tuesday, and I'm with
Right.
Greg on Sunday, and I'm with Bill on Monday." And it's like,
Yes.
you're going to have to answer to that so you can keep those times sacred and be with family.
Hmm.
Or you can just say, you know what? holidays are for relationships and love, and that's what we're
Just
supposed to
being
love other
together.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, and I
So, but turning it around back on you,
love that.
you are ridiculously close and healthy with your ex.
Yes.
So, have you had over the past few years, have you had any new dating people or anything that has a problem with you celebrating with your past nuclear family?
So here we go. Yes, I have, as a
I
matter of
thought that
fact.
isn't there something that you put your hand on and you're like you're allowed to say anything you want?
There is no bar here. We are unlimited in what we can talk about here because I only speak the truth and I state the facts. So it doesn't really matter. And it's my opinion as well. So, yes, absolutely. And I want to say before I answer that, just in response to something you said, is also I think it depends on how old the kids are, what age group you have around you. And if you're dating and maybe not ready to bring somebody around, then that's a whole different thing if you're actually dating somebody and you have young
For sure.
kids. But for my particular situation, my kids are older. So they've met some of the people that I've dated. I don't think it's such a big deal for me to bring around a man if I'm like, oh, he doesn't really have anyone for the holidays. I'm just going to bring him. It doesn't have to necessarily mean we're going to get married. We're going to be in this long-term relationship. It can just mean, hey, I'm bringing somebody to dinner because, again, like you said, we want family to be joined and it's a celebration. So I think that's totally okay. So it's really at everybody's discretion.
It
Now,
is that everybody has a different level. Everybody, it's a personal thing for everybody because some people are just friends with everybody, but
mhm,
some people find certain things very sacred. It's
yes,
very sacred. I mean,
yeah,
so I think that's a great point. Like if you think your kids are old enough to handle just, hey, I'm bringing a date, not a
mhm.
boyfriend, then you're
That's totally
fine.
different. And if
Mhm.
I am dating multiple people at one time, I would be very particular about which one I would bring. It would be most likely the one that I see a potential with, see it going a little bit further than maybe one that I just met more recently.
Yes.
So I would just kind of gauge it on something like that. But to answer your really good question that I didn't know you were going to go there. Yeah, I've had a little bit of issues with that kind of thing. So my ex-husband and I think I talked about this in episodes, many episodes ago, not really recently, but he and I are very close. We were married for 20 years. We have two beautiful kids together. And to me, when you spend that kind of time with somebody and a quarter of your life, hopefully, it's hard to not be friends with them afterwards. And he is an amazing man. He was a great father. He didn't do anything wrong for me. I just fell out of love. And that just happens and people grow apart. We got married very young. So I think that when you have a situation like that, it is totally okay to remain friends and try to make the best, not only for the kids, but for your own sanity, I would say. And so, he and I have really maintained an incredible relationship as friends, as co-parents, and we do not cross any lines. We don't take any advantage of that. I'm not flirty with him. He's not flirty with me. We
You have
tried to
to find that other people think that that's very strange.
very, very much. Now, a lot of people tend to go, "Oh my God, I think that's amazing," but I think under their breath they're like, "What the fuck?" That's what I think, right? I think that's what they're thinking, and it's okay because everybody can choose their own thing. Nobody has to feel the same way I do or the way he does. But I think it's very healthy for us. So,
It
and
is very healthy, and I think a lot of
mhm,
people don't realize just how healthy it is because
yes,
it's good to not to your kids love it, they understand it, they get it. It's not toxic around them or around
yep,
anybody. But I can
yeah,
see that it would be hard for other people to take that didn't know you before. I knew you before, and your ex-husband is
yes,
like my brother. I mean, they're
right, right.
it's a very good relationship. It's very healthy, and I get it, totally get it, but I don't know that I would have gotten if I didn't know you before.
Yeah, some people coming in from the outside. And honestly, I can't even say how I would react if it was me coming in from the outside. And that was a situation that I was entering into. I only know it from being on the inside.
Oh,
So
you would scratch your eyeballs out.
I might, I guess I
I'm just
might.
kidding.
I very well might. I don't know. I guess it kind of depends on like how much I don't want to say security you have. It's not about being secure. It's just about understanding the meaning
Yeah.
behind it and just being okay with what it is. It doesn't have to have some big, huge meaning behind it, like, oh my God, they're still in love. It's nothing like that. It's we have figured out a way to coexist and keep it in a very healthy, wonderful relationship and not affecting others.
Yeah.
But
I think it's great. I think it's great. I've heard you talking to him and he, calling and asking for advice, and it is like a big brother uncle
yeah,
relationship now compared to, yeah, I think
yeah,
it's very
absolutely.
healthy, and you guys should teach a class.
Yeah, we should.
Going back to new relationships over the holidays,
Yes.
that there's a time and a place for bringing them into your inner circle, I guess, and a time and a
Hmm.
place for gifts and things like that.
Hmm.
And don't you find, again, I'm not on that single highway yet. I almost said yet.
Yeah. Delete, delete.
Yeah, right. I'm not
Nope.
on that single highway, so
Yeah.
I don't really know what it would be like to to have to deal with that. But
Yeah.
I would think that there's a lot of people who like need dates for holidays,
Yeah.
or
Parties and events and
yeah,
different things.
that's one kind of person. But then there's another kind of person who is like, I don't want any ties. I don't want the obligation of introducing to my family too soon or
Hmm.
buying gifts, so they just break up,
Yeah.
and then
Oh,
and then and then come back in January, and then break up in Valentine's Day, and then come back in March.
oh my gosh. I don't know if I'd be on board with that because if it is it really just about they don't want to spend the money to buy the gift, or is it that they're really nervous about the situation and don't want to be involved in that? I don't know. If
Oh,
you're
come on. You don't
dating,
think there's people out there like that? There's people out
oh,
there like that,
100%.
for
Would I
sure.
date them? No. But if you're dating before Christmas, maybe you don't do Christmas, but you should be then doing Valentine's, I would think. That's a couple months down the road. Those are just,
Right.
those are just chickens, chickens.
That's just a reason to, I bought you dinner and it's Valentine's Day. You have to sleep with me.
Exactly, which is my worst rule. I talk about this in every episode, how much I hate that thought process. So if it means me bringing them to Christmas with the family, that they all of a sudden now think that we're going to have sex because they've met my family, not on board with that either. It's when
Yeah,
I want
I think it should be reversed. Like, you should be dating him for months. The sex should be there before you
or you
introduce him
bring
to
them
the
to the
family.
family.
Yeah.
Yeah. But do you think when you bring them for a Christmas dinner or something, and there's multiple, say there's 20, 30 people there, is that really
That's just
a,
a party. That's
that's
just
just
a
a
date.
party and you just happen
Yeah.
to be, oh, hey, my mom's here. I don't see it as like, maybe not
It's
so
like
much like a one-on-one, right?
it's like a bad rom-com movie.
I'm sure that's out there
Oh,
when
we're
people
going to a
bring fake
party. And oh,
dates.
by the way, my parents are going to be there. Yeah.
I think it's a great way to introduce them to that. I don't know. I think that if I had to give a time frame, I would probably say 2 weeks or less. And that might seem pretty quick. 2 weeks or less, I would not bring them around. But I think if you've been hanging out and maybe talking consistently, so that I'm not talking one date in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, but if you've been consistently hanging out, maybe talking every day, seeing each other, I would not be opposed to saying, hey, would you want to come to this Christmas party with me? Or even if my family's going to be there, I wouldn't
Right.
have any issue with that. But I did recently date somebody that actually had this very situation, and we had only been dating maybe a little over a week, and he had a Christmas party. Well, and this was maybe the only thing that threw me off here is that he brought it up to me about the party because he had to say why he couldn't see me that often because he had a lot of planning to do, or so we thought. Um, but it turned out that, if you're going to say that, you're going to tell me that you have this party, but then you're not going to invite me to the party. He never invited me to the party.
Yeah.
So we talked about it many times and what he was going to cook and how many people were coming and this and that, but I was not invited to the party. And you and I talked about that. I was like, is that like weird that I wasn't invited or is it not? I
Yeah.
don't, yeah. What did you say?
I think it depends on like if you've been burned a lot too, that you even if you were invited, you might be like, hey, it's too soon if your parents are going to be there or your adult kids are going to be there. It might be too
Yep.
soon. But it is a little kind of a weird situation that somebody would just talk to you about the party and I'm doing this and I'm serving this and I'm
Yeah.
doing this. Oh,
And
but
then
you're not
never invite
invited.
me.
Like it's a bad elementary school thing where
Yeah.
like not everybody's invited to the party. But
Yeah. And it did sting a little bit in the beginning, if I'm being honest. I did think like, oh, like why bring it up if you're not going to invite me to something? It's not like he brought up that he was going to his brother's party or something like that. It was his own party at his own house. So he can
yeah.
invite whoever he wants. And there was like 70 people going.
Yeah,
So
you could have just been one of the crowd and it still would have been fun, but
yeah. But I mean,
yeah.
but here I'm also going to say that we're not dating anymore. So that's okay. So it in hindsight, I'm glad he didn't. And that might very well be the reason why you do want to hold off a little bit, is to allow things to happen organically and kind of just settle in it where it feels right to bring them, other than it just being a holiday. And yeah, we're dating on this holiday, so I feel obligated to invite you.
Yeah, I agree. I think you shouldn't be this is we've talked about this before. Don't get mad at something you didn't really want in the first place. Don't get mad you weren't
Yes.
invited, you probably wouldn't have gone. Don't get mad that he didn't call you and didn't say all these things when you probably didn't know he liked him anyway. So don't get mad for something that you didn't run.
Yeah, I love
Really
that you
want.
say that. You've said that before, and I love that. And that's really stuck with me because I try to remember that because I am quick to kind of go, why didn't I get invited to that? And then I'm like, gosh, do I even want to be invited to that? Because am I ready to meet his family? Am I ready to be the person he's going to introduce me as? What? I don't know. He
Right.
might say, this is my girlfriend. And I'm going to be like, oh my God, I am not your girlfriend. I'm going to tell the guy I'm going out with tomorrow night.
Yeah.
So, you don't really know how that's all going to play out. And then it starts up the questions, not only for him, but probably for me. So I was really okay with it. So I agree with that. Don't invite yourself to something or get upset about being invited to something that you don't know that you wanted to be invited to in the first
Yeah.
place.
It
So,
goes back to that being really healthy about real live things. So
mm-hmm,
like you have a really healthy situation about that and really healthy idea and logic behind that,
mm-hmm.
where you don't, hindsight, you're going, why didn't you invite you? But really at the time when you were talking to me about it, you didn't care. You're like, it's too
Right.
soon. And we don't want to go back to high school where like or the younger days when it's just like you get really excited like yes, I can't go. Yes, I'm busy, but at least I wanted to be invited. I just wanted to be included. And that's such a girl emotional way of thinking instead of
Mm-hmm.
saying, why, I didn't really want to go in the first place. So I'm not mad that I'm not invited. I
Yeah.
didn't need the principle of the thing to be invited. I couldn't go anyway. I didn't
Yeah.
need to go anyway.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this. What do you think if you had young kids and say you were dating, or we'll say I'm dating and I have young kids, would I invite him to certain traditions, certain activities? If we're going ice skating, we're going to a Christmas play. Would that be something that you would want to invite somebody to that's fairly new? Once again.
I I think it depends on again in your second stage of life, this new thing, you're recreating yourself, whether it be our midlife change, whatever, where you in a different way than I am, but we're both kind of in that situation where we're, later in life, we're reintroducing ourselves, we're re-imaging ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you in particular, and like you said, adding in traditions, if you do become serious with somebody or you are willing to like bring them in, you're gonna want him to be as open to your traditions as you are to his. Like you have to be open
Mm-hmm.
to his traditions too. So I
Mm-hmm.
think if your tradition is like every year I go to these pop-up bars or these pop-up shops, like in Dallas, it's really popular right now. They have these pop-up cocktail shops and pop-up restaurants
What does
where
that mean? Pop up. Tell me. I don't know
so
what that means.
they either like changed a lobby or changed part of their restaurant to be like all Christmassy. So like there's one that actually it snows inside and they've
Oh.
done this whole pop-up Christmas themed restaurant. And the restaurant's always been there, but the pop-up Christmas is going like, from Thanksgiving to January 5th or something like that. And it snows inside or every
Oh,
cocktail
that's
is
cute.
green and red or something like that. And so I have a lot of girlfriends who are like, my new tradition is I'm going to at least one a week or I'm going to see as many as I can. And that could be a tradition that you guys start together, like
Yeah.
separately, like do your own. Because I know like you're going to have traditions with your ex-husband and your family
Mm-hmm.
and that's going to be weird to bring somebody in and change.
Mm-hmm.
But also you're going to be doing the same. Like, let's say you find another Jewish guy and all of a sudden you have to do Hanukkah again. It's
Mm-hmm.
going to be something you're going to have to be open to and understand and everything. And so your guys are going to create your own just traditions together.
Yeah.
And I think that that's super healthy. And,
Mm-hmm.
don't try to change somebody too much.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. So let's flip the switch on this and talk about what if you don't have somebody at the holidays like this, and what does that look like? So, we
You find
talk a
your
lot.
next married friend and go to Dallas and visit them.
That's right. That's what I do. That's what I do. I ain't sitting home alone. I got places to be.
That's right.
That's right. And so, yeah, that is kind of my question for, because on here we talk a lot about finding yourself after a divorce, a tragedy, a heartbreak, whatever that might be. And so the holidays are a very tough time, of course, for people when they are alone, even when you have people, a lot of people are going through some struggles, and especially in our world today. So what does that look like for people that maybe got divorced more recently or just more recently lost somebody? What kind of things would you suggest they do to keep themselves busy and entertained and not so much sulking in their sorrow, I guess I would say?
Hey folks, I'm Tom.
And I'm Vince.
Do you like beers but don't know much about them?
Us too. So we did what everyone does.
We started a podcast called Friday Night Beers.
Every week we try beers and draw comparisons to what we know best, pop culture.
So if a beer is dank and refreshing, it's probably Matthew McConaughey in those weird Lincoln commercials.
And if it's an old classic that's inescapable, it might be me, Michael Caine.
We just kicked off our 4th season, and we've reviewed hundreds of beers from around the world. Subscribe to Friday Night Beers on Apple, Spotify,
or wherever you get your podcasts, and see what all the fuss is about.
Well, you find your people and create new people, because that's going to be the biggest thing is when you divorce. And let's say you were the PTA mom or you the PTA president, you're probably not going to be hanging out with all those same girls.
Mm-hmm.
Or, guys, whoever it is, you're going to have to find your people that get you and stick through it, and
Mm-hmm.
then find some new people. But I also think, family is huge. So like family, your mom's, dad's, kids, just do whatever. I'm tongue-tied. Which has never happened. But I would say find your people. Because I could say, well, like what you did, like you probably have more girlfriends now than you did when you were married.
Yes, I do.
So find your people and hang on to that, and also find some people who are very inclusive.
Yeah.
So like I think we in particular, like we're a close family nucleus, but we're also in a more the merrier kind of thing, for our holidays, people come over and we're a nucleus together for the 4 of
Mm-hmm.
us a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So on holidays, I want it to be more than just our 4. I want it to
Yeah.
be, and joining groups, joining clubs. There's a whole bunch of Facebook groups that are like, I think there's one specific that's like girls who love the outside. And it's like, it's a group that they're like, hey, we're renting a boat, $10, join us. Hey, we're
Yeah.
going to play, and there's like these things, or we're going hiking, or we're going on a trip, and they just, somebody plans it and says, okay, it's your portion is $300. Come on. So
Yeah.
join a group, but join your people. Cause I think when you start getting through divorce, those first people that you are willing to tell,
Yeah.
whether it be your sisters or your brothers, your family, the first persons you are willing to tell, those are your people.
Yeah, absolutely. You're one of my first, just so you know.
I know. And I'm still here.
And you're still here. She's stuck with me. She took my side. No.
Well,
yeah, she's got another call after this.
There really wasn't
Apology.
sides between you two. Again,
No.
so weird, but it's very healthy and something to really. I tell everybody and it's sad, but a lot of people are going through divorce. I tell everybody your story of just like how healthy your whole breakup was and how you guys are now.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it. But I was also going to say that I think, we are in such a different time right now after COVID and people spending so much time together. A lot of people actually really enjoy being alone now. And I don't mean alone in a way like that they're just, depressed and sitting alone. But, one of my girlfriends just said the other day, she, her daughter wants her to come visit her for Christmas. And she's kind of like, gosh, I would almost just be okay staying home by myself with a fire going and a glass of wine and just doing Christmas by myself. And I thought about that for a second. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with that. There's
Nothing
absolutely
wrong with
nothing
that.
wrong with that. And you don't have to feel like you're completely alone. I think there's so many different things, like you said, different groups, but that you can even find on the internet, or people that you can be talking to or FaceTime with somebody, and you don't have to be sitting there alone. So it doesn't mean that you are alone just because you're spending the holidays alone. I've become much more comfortable with myself sitting in solitude, and I actually enjoy it way more than I thought I would. Sometimes I'm like, I just said this the other night. I climbed on my couch and I went, I love this time. I pulled up my blanket and I had my little Coke Zero and I put on a movie and I was ready to go. So I just want to say there's nothing wrong with that. If you
Right.
want to
I
spend
think
that.
you hit the nail on the head. You hit the nail on the head. Everybody has to know themselves.
Yeah.
And, this journey of divorce, going from Mrs. to Ms. is a huge learning experience. And I'm going to touch back on what we just said. Don't judge based on what other people think.
Yeah.
If you don't want it, then don't be as offended that somebody didn't give it to you. You don't want it anyway. And that's where
Yes.
you really have to, if you say, I wasn't invited to this Christmas party, or I don't have any family that lives in this state, but really you don't have the mental capacity to go to a house with 25 grandchildren running around, don't go.
Don't
But don't
go.
be but then also let's be healthy in our in our skin and say, I don't really want that. So I'm not mad that I'm not going.
Yeah.
You
And it's
know,
okay to say no to an invitation that you
yeah,
don't want to go to. You don't have to go do something. You can literally say to them, listen, I am just not in a place to receive that right now. And I've got my own things going and I'm going to just enjoy it and do what I
yeah,
want to do. Yeah. I think
yeah,
that's a really big thing because we often feel guilted into situations. And then you get there and you're like, oh, God, I don't want to be here.
yeah,
I mean, I think it can go both ways. I think it is great to get out and meet new people and put yourselves out there. I'm a big proponent of that. But if you're not ready, then that's okay too.
yeah. You're not
And
the first person that has said to me, the one I had a lady who she was actually giving, my massage therapist. I said, what are you doing for Christmas? And she said, I'm staying home by myself. And that's the best gift my kids and my grandkids could give to me, was to
wow.
just let me be alone. Because
Hmm.
most people will be like, no, 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 and they feel bad for you. They feel sorry for you instead of
Yes.
realizing this is what I want, not what you want.
Yes, absolutely. And another thing is, one of the things I've said in my top 10 things to do after getting divorced, other than buying a vibrator, would be for you to
That
go.
should be 1, 2, and 3, right?
That should
No.
be one, two, and three.
That's another episode,
Forgot.
but girls, you cannot well if you don't know how to do it by yourself.
That is truer words have never been spoken.
You can't do it well with somebody else if you can't do it by yourself.
That's right. I keep saying it over and over again. And I tell you, if I can get an expert on here to come on and talk about vibrators and how great and healthy they are for a woman to figure herself out. I don't know how we're going down this whole rabbit hole here. But speaking of rabbits, I would like somebody to come on and talk about how great it is to use a rabbit.
I am telling you, the best and the most knowledgeable people are the people who work in the stores. Go into a Sarah's Secret, go into a Condoms to Go, and
Yeah.
seriously, don't be embarrassed to ask them, because they know it all, they've heard it all, they talked about it all, and I truly believe that they get them for free so they can try them out and share.
Oh, wow. I
I
love
talked to
that.
one girl in a store. She said she had 65 in her house. I'm like, you must be exhausted. And
Oh.
she's like, I have to try them out if I'm selling them, right?
That is incredible. I have been using the same one. I mean, I wash it, don't you worry. But I
Well,
just
I've been
like
using the same one for 28 years too, and he is not worn out yet either. Just
Oh,
kidding.
amazing. But you know what? If that's what you want to do on Christmas Eve is get a vibrator and sit by yourself and enjoy some alone time, absolutely do that. That is one thing I said to do. And the other one is to to travel alone if you want to. And I think even to go to a little exotic place or just a little place in Mexico, Cabo or something for a little 3 days away by yourself. Go do a little weekend cruise by yourself and enjoy that time. And you're going to be amazed how many other people are there that you're going to
Yep.
meet as well. and there's nothing wrong with that. I really want to do that. Actually, I want to just go travel by myself. I mean, I'm going to admit I'm a little scared because I'm a bit of a scaredy cat, like of things happening and me not knowing what to do. But if I go to a familiar place, I think I should be good. I feel like I should do that. Not right now because I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're traveling, but not by yourself. You're
Not
traveling,
by
but not by yourself.
myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do that too. It doesn't have to be by yourself to sit by yourself. I mean, I came here, you guys are always welcoming to have me in your home. And I'm like, hey, I don't have anything going on for Christmas. Can I come there? And you're like,
Like
of
I said,
course.
less work for me.
Yeah. So I can entertain. This isn't sounding right. This sounds like something I'm doing while you're sitting in the room and I'm taking care of
Well,
your family.
you can think what you're thinking, and I'm thinking cooking, cleaning, making cookies. Yeah. No, you know what? I went on a overnight trip. We went with my book club, and it
Mhm.
was just so peaceful and so wonderful. And it was like one person, brought all the breakfast, and like with women, you don't have we divvied up the work, we divvied up the
Yeah.
food, we divvied up, and it was so peaceful. And I think if I went on a vacation with just my family or, other men, how much
Mhm.
work that is for me, like the mental load, the physical load of expecting, women to do all the cooking and the cleaning and
Yeah.
the, you see the TikToks and the reels and the social medias right now and all the jokes about how nothing's in mom's stocking and nothing's, mom's not getting anything because she did all the wrapping of her own presents and things like that.
Yes. So true.
I'm fine with you coming and sharing some of the load.
I know. I think that's
In
why
the kitchen.
in the
In the
kitchen.
kitchen.
Yeah, you haven't seen her husband. Just kidding, just kidding. But I agree with that. And I think that's why they're saying so many women are now getting together and buying a compound, if you will,
Yep.
or some kind of major home to live in together and just kind of share the workload and do that together if you're not with a man or you
The
or
Golden Girls
another
future.
partner.
The Golden Girls future.
I see it.
Yeah.
I see it. I could end up there the way I'm going, and that's okay. That's okay. So
You would definitely be Blanche.
yeah, I would be
You would
Blanche.
definitely be
I'd have a
Blanche.
date every night, just showing up at the door, send him on his way, and then I'm back with my girls. I love it. And you would be probably
Well, I'm Norwegian. I could be Rose, but
you
I'm
could be,
probably not ditzy enough. I'm just saying.
no, probably not. You're more like Estelle Getty with the witty comebacks.
Yeah, the old lady with the back in Sicily.
Yeah,
Picture it. 20 years.
absolutely.
Yeah.
See? Yeah. But I was trying to think earlier, just going back to Christmas and having somebody like what kind of gifts I would get, or if I had somebody right now, like what kind of gift I would get for them. And so I really started thinking about that. Like, let me ask you, if you had to get 3 gifts, say you're dating somebody, okay, your husband is out of the picture right now, and you're dating somebody for a couple weeks. First of all, would you get him a Christmas gift?
I probably would because the traditions are so big with me. And I
Yeah.
am a firm believer, and you know this, you teach people how to treat you.
Mm-hmm.
So if I ignored Christmas and didn't give a Christmas gift on our first, even though baby Christmas together,
Yeah.
it's setting the stage for anything else. But I'm
Yeah.
also, I think my love language is gifts. I put a lot of thought into it. I try really hard to like, even if I'm not spending a lot of money, just like really, really thoughtful things. So
Mm-hmm.
I probably would get a gift. And
Mm-hmm.
I help my son get gifts for his girlfriends all the time
Yeah.
because, I tell him the same thing is like, you don't want to do everything your first year and then the second year you just do something really little because you're like setting this expectations. You have to build on it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the more you like somebody, the more you're with them, your gift of showing them appreciation should grow with that.
Yeah.
You don't want to get, the diamond necklace one year and then the next year you get, like coupons. Because then
Yeah.
you're not building and you're kind of making them think, oh, you're loving me less, not more.
Yeah. So
So
start smaller and kind of work your way as you get to know them more. And
yeah.
maybe it becomes a little bit more thoughtful the more time you know them.
Yeah, so even if it's only been 2 weeks, if you're going to spend any time together, the day before, the day of, the day after, I would do something and try to, obviously money is based on somebody's tax bracket at the time. So you can say a $25 gift is adequate, but obviously if you're dating Jimmy or Warren Buffett, then
Not Jimmy Buffett.
not well, Jimmy, didn't he just die?
I
Like
think
I'm just
he
thinking,
did.
yeah.
It
Well,
was a Buffett.
all you have to do is give him like a parrot or something,
Yeah.
or like a parrot head looking hat. But
Right.
something super thoughtful, but it doesn't have to spend money. And I've talked about this over the many, many years, because like we've gone up and down and we've grown together, you and I, in our
Hmm.
relationship on, how much money we've made, good years, bad
Hmm.
years, whatever.
Hmm.
And so to say like, I'm going to do something that isn't super expensive because I'm not setting a precedent that this is how it's going to be every holiday,
Yeah.
but something that's super thoughtful, or like we were talking about something that goes with their hobby. Like if
Yeah.
you guys met playing pickleball, I saw the cutest little thing. It was like you can get their name on the little plastic thing that goes over the handle with their name on it and their phone number.
Oh,
So I mean, how thoughtful that would be, and so cheap, but it's like you met playing pickleball. So like little labels. So if you ever lose your racket, it's got your name on it.
yeah. Yeah. I think stuff like that is really cute. And I was actually looking up earlier to find out like what is the average amount of money you should spend for somebody depending on how long you've dated. And I kind of saw that it said if you've been dating for like 3 weeks or less, then maybe a maximum of $50. But if you start going into the 1 month to 3 month range, then you can raise it up to, maybe $100. I don't know. Sometimes that kind of 1 month, $100. I don't know if that's that doesn't seem that right to me. I think I would be more still in the $50 range, but I'm frugal Fanny. So
Exactly.
who
Frugal thing.
am I to say? Yeah.
It depends on your tax bracket. It depends on
Yeah.
your tax bracket. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been around friends who their first gift is a Burberry scarf. And I'm like,
What?
I haven't even known you a year. And it's like
Yeah.
it depends on their tax bracket more. And
Yeah.
like if you're a gift giver, or if you're a thought giver, or if you're a money person.
Yeah.
Because I know somebody who could write up a poem, or write up a song, or write up a card, and it's just as valuable as somebody like who gives you
Yeah.
$100 gift card or something
Yeah.
like that.
I
So
would honestly much prefer that. I would prefer something really sweet and kind, like a really great card with things said in there and a little
yeah,
$10 Chick-fil-A gift card, and I'm good
yeah.
to go. But I
I don't
think,
know, but if anybody out there is looking for advice, if they're looking for advice, I think anything with your name on it adds value. So if like,
Mhm.
the little label to the little plastic thing that goes on your pickleball handle that has your name on it, you're automatically adding $20 to that.
Yeah.
And not actual physical, but like in mental thoughts. So like if you got a blanket, and let's say you go get a blanket at Walmart for $7.99, but then
Hmm.
you have their name embroidered on it, and yeah, that's going to cost a minute, but that automatically makes it more like $100 value. Like it
Yes.
adds value when you personalize it, when you make it thoughtful, or you make some sentimental value behind it. So you can make something super cheap that didn't even cost you very much.
Yeah.
Like you do a $27 blanket, but it has their name on it,
Hmm.
and all of a sudden it feels like you spent 100.
Yeah. I love that idea. Yeah, I think I was trying to think of any little gift ideas that would be good for that kind of situation. And I was thinking maybe some cologne would be a good one if you liked, a scent, a particular scent that you think would smell great on them. I think that's something that's pleasing for both of you. Like we said, kind of the hobby thing you find out. And that also shows listening.
Mm-hmm.
I love that some of the best gifts I think are when you've had conversations and maybe just something came out of something that they like, a particular
Yeah.
singer, a particular scent, a particular type
Golf
of
clubs with their
golf
initials on
clubs.
it.
Yeah,
A
just
tie, a
something.
tie with your initial on it. Yeah.
Hmm. And just something that they maybe just mentioned that they love a certain smell. And then you get that candle that smells like the lavender they said, or, something like that sheet spray or
Are
whatever
you
it
dating
might be.
girls?
I'm
Are you
dating.
dating
I told
girls?
you.
Lavender sheet spray, lavender
Told you, I'm
sheets.
going to the opposite side of the field. I've had it. I'm going to the compound. Oh gosh. Yeah, I think there's a lot of different things that you can talk about, with the holidays. And, just to kind of sum it up, I think it's just about finding what's right for you and not letting somebody push you out of your comfort zone. A holiday is exactly what you make of it. It doesn't have to be anything that's preset or feel obligated to do this or that. Just enjoy it and make the
Yep.
best of it. And who can argue with you on that? If you chose
Yep.
not to invite them, can they argue? Could I tell that guy off for not inviting me? Absolutely not.
Yeah. Well, in Europe, holiday is synonymous with vacation. So think of that.
Mm,
It's not supposed to be stressful like it is. It's not supposed
yes.
to be a lot of work like it is. It's
Hmm.
supposed to be a holiday. And
Yeah,
in Europe, when you take a 3 days off from work, you're on holiday. So think of this holiday as time off from anything you need time away from.
I love that. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I love that. We just wanted to come on and talk a little bit about the holidays and just wish everybody a wonderful, happy holidays
Merry
and
Christmas.
Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah and all of that good stuff and Happy New Year. And I'm sure I'll be talking to you all before then, but have a great week. And thank you so much for joining me. You can find me on Instagram at From Mrs. to Ms. You can find me on TikTok, any major streaming platform. And I would love to have your questions. And if anybody knows a vibrator expert, please email me at info@FromMrs2Ms.net. I'd love to have you on the show. And we'll talk to you soon. Thank you again, Lucinda, for joining me. Bye.
Bye.